All right. Hi, Marty, Kendall. Thanks for coming to chat with me today.
Hey, Tracy, thanks for the opportunity.
Awesome. You've very generously donated to all our participants a discount
Yeah,
code to all these fantastic recipe books that you
yeah,
have created under the banner of
yeah,
Optimizing Nutrition. So
yep,
can you tell us a little bit about how that's come about
yeah,
and what,
yeah.
what they are?
It's been a really, really fun journey. I suppose, like 4 years or so ago, we started to go, well, let's build in some recipes and try to identify the best recipes that people can use, that we can recommend to give them nutrient density for different goals. I suppose coming from a background, type 1 diabetic wife, and I just saw a lot of need out there for people to do low carb and to do low carb well, because you can do low carb or keto well, or you can not get nutrition and it doesn't always end up getting the results you want. So we went in search for the best recipes out there, analyzed about 4,000, went crazy doing that in Chronometer. And then I suppose started to create a few of our own at home with Monica, my wife, and then came across Saskia Lesser, who's from New Zealand. And she said, do you want to work together to partner to do this thing? And so she went about just using the Nutrient Optimizer tool to design 140 different recipes, and like basically every meal was just a work of art, fully nutrient dense, and took photos of them, and we've arranged them into a series of 22 different recipe books aimed for different goals for different people. I suppose we wanted to paint every different dietary preference, from therapeutic keto to plant-based, low carb, nutrient dense, fat loss, high protein to energy, in the best light it possibly could be, with the highest nutrient density and beautiful photos. So that's what we tried to do. Really, really, really thrilled with how it's all come out, and just great to be able to share it. I can't wait for it to get into people's hands to be used. So yeah, it's been a fun journey.
Awesome. Yeah, I can imagine it's been a huge amount of work. So just
Yeah,
in case people that don't understand, so what is you talked about the chronometer and
yep,
put it all into the nutrient optimizer. Do you want to just explain those two a little
yeah.
bit?
I suppose I'm a engineer, civil engineer by day, and everything. I see numbers, and I see my son at 14. He sees numbers in a whole amazing way, and I go, oh, maybe we're a bit different and weird. But I suppose I've used that approach that I take to everything to say, let's quantify things. To say, okay, we need what's nutrition about? It's about getting enough nutrients without too many calories. So you can sort of dial it in for different goals. So Chronometer enables you to enter a recipe, and it breaks down all the micronutrients in it as well as the macronutrients. So it's all the vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids, amino acids, as well as the protein, fat, carbs, which is what most people talk about. So we can look at those recipes and say which ones have more of the harder to find nutrients per calorie. So that's what seems to, like, a lot of the time you can get enough vitamin A or vitamin K, but like vitamin D, magnesium, potassium, calcium, and those sort of nutrients are harder to find depending on your diet. So I suppose we've said, let's make sure all of our recipes have heaps of the harder to find nutrients to get a micronutrient balanced diet. So it's not a balanced diet in terms of, whatever people think a balanced diet is. Nobody really defines it well. And I suppose that's why we went ahead and said, let's define it as adequate micronutrients across the board, not just one particular favorite micronutrient that people say, let's get this superfood that's got lots of potassium or magnesium or one nutrient. We want to look at all 34 essential micronutrients that are critical for our body thriving. And the great thing is that the photos come out looking amazing. It looks like happy, healthy, bright, colorful food that grandma would approve of, and with real food that seems to jump off the page, which is really cool.
Yeah, very cool and very much needed. I mean, I've definitely seen over the years I've been in the space that we do tend to focus so much on the macronutrients, especially when you're very new, and that's understandable, I guess, because it can be quite overwhelming to change things at first. But when we just focus on carbs and we don't worry about the other stuff over time, that can definitely, affect how we're feeling and our health. And I love one of the things you say, which is, you know, it's not, you don't need, I'm paraphrasing, you don't need a diet, it's about nutrients. Or is that what
your diet doesn't need a name or a belief system. It just needs enough nutrients is something that I said once. And Alex went, hey, that's really cool. And yeah, I suppose a lot of nutrition is so much belief based, whether it be plant based or carnivore or whatever, and people get into this zealous niche and just about an echo chamber that reinforces what they believe about their diet, and nothing can challenge that. But they can still create an amazing diet a lot of the time within that framework, or a really, really poor diet within that. But when you focus on providing your body with what it needs and the micronutrients it needs, rather than this restriction mentality, you just, you know, good things happen, and we just see people really thriving and doing well and getting a whole lot of energy, and they no longer feel dominated and a slave to their appetite anymore, which is a really exciting thing to see it happen. If the numbers work in real life, and I just love seeing it every time.
Yeah, absolutely. So other books, because is there 20 books?
22, yeah, we got carried away.
So my question is, you know, how different are they? So you might have one for weight loss, one for bodybuilding, one for I don't know.
Everything.
Everything.
I'm just wrapping up a series of 3 on cancer, where we've looked at the particular amino acids that are related to cancer growth, and some of them, like methionine and glutamine, promote cancer, and histidine helps with cancer treatment. But then if you minimize protein, you end up with a really micronutrient poor diet. So we add in the vitamins and minerals into that. And then we've segmented that up into people who need to lose weight versus gain weight versus maintain. So that's sort of a niche there. But we've looked at from therapeutic keto, which is very low protein, high fat, and then there was nutritional keto, then there's low carb, and then there's sort of a low carb and fat loss, and then fat loss, and they're all sort of on a spectrum depending on what your goals are. And then there's, you know, the other extreme with high protein to energy ratio for all the Ted Naiman fans out there who want to lose weight really quickly and get ripped and shredded. So there's a massive spectrum, all sort of geared around satiety and nutrient density at the same time, and also with a view to managing the insulin load, which is about stabilizing your blood sugars for people with managing diabetes. And then there's plant-based, because a lot of people are very passionate about a plant-based diet. A lot of the time it's a very nutrient poor, highly processed, you know, soy protein and grain-based and refined oils, and it ends up being, you know, really, really, really poor nutritionally. But we can improve that still within this framework. And then there's egg-free, dairy-free, egg and dairy-free for people with those challenges. So we're sort of niched down each one, and each one's got 33 recipes in the book with links to all the micronutrient data, and then 150 recipes up the back with links to the website. So you get 33 in the book, and then 150 in the back of the book with links to the website that are tailored especially for that dietary approach. So we've got 1,500 recipes in the list, and each book is sort of optimized for each goal. So yeah, it has been a crazy labor of love that I've lost a lot of sleep over, and so it's great to get it out.
I can imagine. Well, thank you so much. Really honored that you've been so generous and offering, you know, all our participants this 20% off. And of course, below is the links where you can find Marty, Nutrient Optimizer, and of course to buy the book. So really, you know, fantastic. What a huge amount of work. I just, you must be so proud of.
The goal is to, you know, reinvent the recipe genre to focus on micronutrients. So hopefully it's like nothing else out there in the market, and I think it is. So yeah, hopefully people will love it when they see it, and it just, you know, we've seen it with all the masterclasses really help people improve the nutrition and change their lives. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that roll out on a bigger scale.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Marty.
Thank you so much, Tracy.